Hi. So basically, last year I made a video about like everything I'd learned from like auditioning colleges and stuff, just sort of like my experience, and I did it like more for myself for the memes, but I also posted it on YouTube because I thought, you know, it might help someone. So, and I was thinking, it's a year since I did that, so I was thinking I'm gonna do a year what I've learned from my first year at college and like second, I've like bit into second year as well, so just everything I've learned, like, yeah, it's more for myself, but I thought I think I'm gonna post it. Who knows, I might not, because I might think but yeah, I think I'm gonna post it, because if it does, like, if one person watches it and they're like, that's a little bit helpful, then yeah, it's quite good, I guess. And obviously, if I am posting this, like, I'm not a professional, I'm trained to hopefully be there, but like, I've still got a long way to go, so don't like think that I'm being all pretending I'm like a pro. I'm not. Okay, let's get into it. So the first thing I learned was probably to just stay like in your own lane. Like, there's gonna be like such a mix of people around you, and there's gonna be people that are amazing. I think I literally told myself, like, before I even started college, like, you're gonna be the worst there, you're gonna be the worst there, and yeah, it was kind of good in a way because it humbled me, but at the same time, like, I shouldn't have even been thinking about other people, because everyone has their own journey, and like, it literally doesn't matter. Like, and again, there's going to be people who work really hard, there's going to be people who, like, you know, maybe don't try, and don't be thinking, oh, I don't want to look like I try hard and stuff. I think it took me a bit of time to realise, like, just focus on what you're doing, don't worry about what other people are doing around you. Obviously, be inspired, like, learn from other people. I think that's the thing, is like, everything is whether it's positive or negative, everything is a learning curve, and I think that's definitely something I've learned. I definitely found I was like holding back, especially at the start, because I was worried about what people were thinking, and I was also so worried about making a mistake, which I guess in a way is positive, because you want to have high standards and you want to push yourself. But I think personally, when I was getting so worried about making a mistake, I would then be more likely to mess up. The doorbell just went. Okay. Yeah, there were definitely times when, and even now still sometimes, when I'm thinking, like, I've got to get everything they said right, but then I'm worrying so much about getting it right that I just mess up fully. Whereas if I just took a chill pill for a sec, then I think, I mean, still have high standards, but just be a little bit more like okay with the fact of going wrong, because I think you learn so much from going wrong. Like, so the second thing is, it's kind of an obvious one, but I feel like I never really realised it. I used to ask a lot, like when I did like open classes and stuff, I'd always be like, go to the teacher at the end, like, what can I improve on and stuff like that. But being in college has made me realise, like, the importance of being able to self-critique. Like, you shouldn't always rely on a teacher to give you feedback and like tell you exactly where you need to improve, which is great if they do, but you can't rely on that, because so you're in an audition, or once you've graduated, you're not always going to have someone there telling you exactly what to do, so you really need to be able to self-critique. I definitely find things like ballet, and this is something I didn't really realise until I got to college, but ballet and even like sort of the more hip-hoppy style, I guess a little bit jazz as well, those sort of styles, I find them slightly easier to understand, because I think it's clearer what's right and what's wrong. So for example, like ballet, you've got to have your pelvis, like, there's so specific about what is right and what's wrong, whereas like more commercially styles, it's like, it's so, there's not one specific thing you can be told always, and there's no, I guess it's a better way of putting it, there's not like a right or wrong, there's like different choices you can make. I mean, obviously when it comes to like cleanliness and stuff, that's a whole nother different thing, but as a whole commercial, there's no right or wrong technically. And I guess the same with contemporary and a little bit of jazz as well. So that's definitely something I've found more challenging, but I've actually told myself to do it from the start of this year, and I've actually been like keeping it up, but just spending like an hour, 2 hours in either the gym or like in a free studio, just filming the dances, obviously not to go anywhere because most of the time it's a mess, but because then looking back and watching the videos, you notice so much more than, like, I'm not gonna lie, like first year I did film some things, but I wasn't great at filming things, and so I like didn't really know what I looked like dancing, which isn't great. Whereas this year I'm being really strict with myself, and just making sure to film, and so I know what I look like dancing, and can also, you notice things you wouldn't necessarily notice. And I've also learnt like the importance of going away and practicing a dance. Like, it doesn't matter if you're not doing the dance again, I think it's just so important. I mean, more just for the fun of it as well, but also just, yeah, I think every single lesson there's something you can take away from it. And so I think if you then just leave it, it kind of, I find it a lot more beneficial to me if I then go away and practice it in my own time, because sometimes it's completely different when you're practicing it on your own, because your brains have more time to think about the choreo and stuff like that. So yeah, that's something personally I found really beneficial. And also within this, I've realised like the importance of finding times when you should be really on it and critique yourself with how it looks, but also there's other times where you just need to think about how it feels to dance it, and that's how it comes through in your performance. Like, I think any style, like, there should, like, sometimes I just like go and do the dance, like not in front of anyone, but and just kind of take the piss out of it a bit, and that's like helped me to like just have fun with it and like not take it as seriously, because sometimes when you're taking it too seriously, at the end of the day, like, I want to dance because I like, or as we want to dance because we want the audience to feel a certain type of way. So if you're not feeling that way and you're just thinking about getting it right, then that won't come across in your performance. So I don't know if I put this in the right words, but yeah, I definitely think it's so important to also just let go of what the dance looks like and just think about how it feels like, because if it feels good, then it most likely looks good. And back to sort of like the feedback thing, I found it really beneficial to just write. I've got a little like journal thing after each class, just write, even if it's just, sometimes I have like a whole page, sometimes I'll just have like 1 or 2 lines, something that I've learned in the class, maybe like how I felt in that class, if it's, sorry, there's children like walking past, yeah, or just something that I've learned, yeah, especially feedback that I'm giving, because even if it's good to look, I feel like once I've graduated I'm definitely going to look back loads at it, and also sometimes when I forget things I'll go back and look, but also just writing it down even if I didn't read it back, I think just helps me remember it. So yeah, another thing which like we were actually talking about in a class yesterday, is just like the importance of keeping your creative brain alive, because at the end of the day, like, I say dancing, I mean performing as a whole, but it is an art. So I think just spend some time just putting on some music and like improving, but like not thinking of it as improv, just thinking of it as dancing, like just like vibing with the music. And the same, I love choreographing, and so I think more when I have more time at home, when I go home, just making up some dances, and just, I don't, and most of the time I don't even really, it's not for anything, but I think just doing that really keeps your creative brain alive. And it's also, this is something I've been not struggling with, but I've been finding a bit harder, is when you're given like a free choice within a dance, whether it's like improv or whether it's like a position or just even a free arm, sometimes I just find myself like overthinking it, like thinking, and I think just keeping that creative like side of my brain alive just helps me to make stronger choices like that and think more out the box when it comes to things like that. Another thing that I've realised is just, I mean, overall, I guess, taking every opportunity, but I guess that's sort of like a given, but biggest one is like getting up when someone says who wants to sing, getting up to sing. And to be fair, from the start, I actually just made myself, I was like, you've got to get up, even if it's scared. And I've definitely found like I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm still not great at singing, it's a work in progress, but I've found like it's really helped my confidence, just to be able to go, yeah, I'll do it. And because there's definitely times when I've got up and it's not been the best, but just making myself do that has not only given me more chances to get feedback and get seen by the teachers, but also it like every time I go up, the next time I do it, I'll be less scared because I just, yeah, so I think definitely that's something that's really helped me. And I definitely think I've got better. It's still work in progress, but I think I've got better at, I used to just go up and say, sorry, like this isn't going to be very good, or sorry, I'm a bit dodgy on that part, but I think just going, because you're not going to go into an audition and say, oh, sorry, like this isn't going to be great. Like, so I mean, this might just be a me problem, but I've like told myself like not to, like, don't apologise, even if, yeah, it might not be great, just go up and do it. And yeah, don't be apologetic about it, because that will instantly, like, people will be like so yeah, that's one thing. Another thing is, I think, staying on top of things. Like, it was, especially at the start, like, you wanna, every single lesson pretty much has something that like you can go home and work on, but it definitely does get hard to stay on top of it, but the more, like, basically after all what I said about the journal thing, I'll also just write a list of what to practice from that lesson, and I think especially maybe at the start there was a couple of weeks where I kind of let that go a bit, and it's so much harder to get back into it. So just staying on it, like making sure you keep a list of everything that you've got to do, and making sure that you come back to the lesson with it better than what it was when you last went, because at the end of the day that's how you're going to improve. And also I think, like, the industry, I mean, I'm not in it yet so I don't know, but I think it is often you have a lot of things on, so you need to just learn to keep on top of it from the start and not get stressed over it. The next thing is probably the importance of strength and stamina training. Not only this is what I've been told, but like it does definitely help with injury prevention and knowing to do things safely, but it also helps technique and everything. I've started training like a few different things, like plyometrics, and I never know how to say it, like calisthenics, like the things on the bar. Yeah, I've started doing that, and it's a work in progress as always, but it's definitely helped improve my core strength, and like I'd definitely say I'm quite a wobbly, especially when it comes to being on hills, so it's definitely helped with that and strength. And again, like plyometrics with like explosions for jumps, and also with your landing technique, because if you aren't doing that properly then you could be at risk of injury, so I've definitely found that beneficial. It also, we don't do we do a bit but not loads of conditioning at college as well, so it gives me something to do in the evenings. And also I guess just mentally it helps as well, just being able to push through when you're tired. I go out, yeah, most of the time I go after college, so I guess it just helps mentally, just like last push of the day. The next one is don't let yourself off. We get told this like a lot by our ballet teacher, so by that she means, I guess an example would be, if you're, well, this is the one she tells us it for a lot, so if you're in arabesque, don't, if it's just at, you know, your normal height, don't think, oh, that's fine, like, or it's hurting a bit, like, don't let yourself go. Always be pushing for higher, and don't let yourself, because each time you push yourself is making you better, which I guess sounds obvious, but there will be times when, you know, maybe you're not feeling your best, but don't let yourself off, like, don't let that be the reason you don't improve. Obviously, like, injury and stuff is completely different, but don't let the fact you're having a bad day, or the fact that your back hurts, like, take, like, in a hurt muscle way rather than like an actual injured way, but don't let that mean that you just chilling. Like, you should always be pushing yourself, because and be responsible for your training. I think that's something I've learned. Like, at the end of the day, teachers can push you and stuff, but if the teacher walks to the other side of the room and then you just give up, like, the only person that's really letting down is you rather than the teacher. So yeah, that's, I guess, taking responsibility for your own training is something I found really, like, so vital to improving and stuff. So yeah. The next thing I think is just respect everyone. Like, at the end of the day, everyone is a person. Everyone has feelings. Even the people that you don't like are still people. From Mean Girls. That's from Mean Girls, that way. So yeah, just be nice to everyone, even if you don't always agree with people. Just be nice. And for example, one of our teachers was telling us a story that they had a dresser for one of the shows they were in, and I think one of the leads or something was like really rude to their dresser, and then the next show they were in, the dresser was actually in the same show as them, and they had to be like, and it's like, you really don't know who you're, not that you should, even because someone's more above, you should be more respectful to them, but I think everyone, like, no matter who they are, just be respectful, because at the end of the day, like, everyone's a person, like, you know. We get told to sort of treat everything that we do like an audition, because at the end of the day, especially in this industry, you don't know who's watching, and if someone sees you do something bad or you say something a bit rude, you don't know, like, you don't want to risk that mean you don't get a job or something like that. But I think you should also just be nice, because you should be nice. And yeah, and yeah, again, like, I feel like don't take anything for granted. Like, the last thing is just have fun. Like, at the end of the day, like, I get into college, I'm like actually I'm so lucky to be here. Like, Brogan in lockdown, like, who was just like dancing in my kitchen, like, literally wouldn't believe it if she knew I was doing this. Bit cringe, but so I think, yeah, just have fun. Like, obviously there'll be times when you need to take things seriously, but also at the same time have fun with it. Like, it's not like we're doing open heart surgery or anything like that. Like, we are literally dancing. So no matter how serious things get, even when it feels like you are like doing awful, just like have fun with it, and don't forget how much you love it, because at the end of the day, like, there's not many people who get to say they like love what they do. So yeah. So yeah, this is the end of the video. Like, it was kind of me just waffling, like, I guess kind of obvious stuff, but it's good for me to look back on, I guess, and reflect. We had to do a module of this. We've actually had to do a couple of them, like written stuff and like talking things for our degree, and it's just good to actually reflect and, you know, look back and like see what you've learned and stuff. So yeah, it's probably a bit mixed matchy, this video. If anyone has watched it, like, I hope you liked it, but I don't know, if not, it might just be me. Yeah, hope you enjoyed if you did watch. I just watched the video back and I really do apologise for how many times I said like, and I also just sounded a bit at the end, but I'm really sorry about that. But yeah, hope you liked the video. I would edit it out, but I just don't really have the time for that. I'm so sorry. Bye.